Stugotz is a star, and he has put his imprint on everything we do around here. And a lot of people, Stugotz, have noticed Billy yesterday yelling from the back row saying, did we become a New York show? When and how did we become a New York show? And a lot of you have noticed, and because there's so many conspiracy theories out there, you are right, conspiracy theorists, on this one. Stugotz did try to get that job at WFAN as program director so he could have all the power and control and fire everybody and run the world. But they weren't paying enough, and they didn't have enough to lure him there. So he's decided to make us something that feels like WFAN, WDAN, WFAT. WFAT is
WFAT. I like that.
What we're going to go with is WFAT is what we're doing. And Stugotz is a little bit broken today, and this one hurts for a number of reasons, but because he just started caring again.
Yeah.
Last
night.
He just gave them his heart moments ago this season because he doesn't trust them for understandable reasons. And if you did not see the end of that game, the big game of basketball last night, even as Milwaukee wins without two guys, that Orlando-Cleveland series,
you can tell me anything, and I will believe you in terms of what happened in last night's game. Tell me anything, I'll believe it. Go ahead.
In the Orlando-Cleveland game?
Yeah. Tell me anything.
No, Cleveland won by 1 point.
I believe you.
Yes, but I could say anything. Nobody's watching that series because at the same time, and I think we can say this, the Sixers and the Knicks are basically equal in this condition. If I make Embiid healthier, the Sixers would be better. But the Knicks got one game at the end that they stole. Now the Sixers steal this game in a weird fashion at the end. But what Maxey did to bail Embiid out, what Maxey did to save the season of the Philadelphia 76ers, that is what basketball players live for, to play in that building and do that to that crowd where you're feeling so confident that you're pulling up from the logo in front of Mitchell Robinson. You're 35 feet from the basket to tie the game.
I mean, Brunson just had that same exact feeling at Philadelphia. Like, players live for that. They love that. Doing it on the road, shutting the crowd up.
I have never been so confident at anything as Maxey was taking that last shot in regulation, saying, my season's on the line. I don't care who else is out here. I don't care how far I am from the basket. I'm going to steal New York's heart from in here. And then let's check in here with the celebrity reaction, because this was undisputably funny, where you've got a number of celebrities who are courtside, and they are just broken.
With about 90 seconds to go, and for good reason, a celebration broke out at Madison Square Garden. Because everyone thought we were going to win the game and advance on to the playoffs, advance on to the second round. And so I understand that some people are embarrassed today because they were over-celebrating, but I was doing the same thing. I was celebrating as well.
Look, we've been talking about Knicks fans celebrating. There's Jon Stewart.
Enough of him.
That is the face right there of, you would think that America over the last 10 years, just the things happening in America did that to Jon Stewart's face, but only the Knicks can do that to
It's
Jon
just what
Stewart's
Bill
face.
Simmons looked like last year. It's exactly the same face. It's uncanny.
There is another picture that is great that I noticed one thing and not the other in it. Tracy Morgan, it's not a great picture, and it's got a lot of crud in it. But Tracy Morgan is shooting a middle finger at Maxey as he walks off the court. But what I noticed there is Ben Stiller next to Tracy Morgan. The amount of rage on Ben Stiller's face. I don't know if you guys, did any of you guys see Mystery Men?
Oh, it's a classic.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, Mystery Men, I should tell the group that doesn't know what this movie is. It's a movie about superheroes that were kind of useless and incredibly human, but they had superpowers that were useless. And Ben Stiller's superpower was he was Mr. Furious. All he would do is get enraged, but he couldn't do anything with the rage other than get mad.
Would he grind his teeth?
He looked like that. He looked like Mr. Furious there, and a superhero with no powers.
Is Tracy Morgan wearing official uniform shorts in this picture? I'm 95% sure that he is.
definitely is.
I
does
think
look
he
like
is,
it.
yeah.
Those are old school Knicks basketball shorts, right? Those are 90s Knicks basketball
Those are like
shorts.
issued uniform shorts that he got to wear to the game.
Just in case they need him to check into the game.
The
You
middle,
never know.
The middle finger. How good did Maxey have to feel? You walk past those celebrities and you've enraged them. Look at Ben Stiller's face.
Yeah, he's still down 3-2, Maxey.
Yeah, but
That felt good for him last night. It did. It had to feel good for Maxey to do it in that building. It's not Embiid. It's Maxey winning Embiid a game. It's Maxey keeping their season alive at Madison Square Garden. That had to feel good. Mitchell Robinson is the problem, though. Before we start celebrating Tyrese Maxey, Mitchell Robinson, if you're listening, if you're watching, you owe me a game. You owe me a game. You owe me a series. You better come through in Game 6 or Game 7. You change the math. The Knicks are up 6. Maxey hits that 3. Let him hit the 3. Why are we fouling? Why are we letting Philly make it a 2-point game? Then Hart comes down, he makes 1 of 2, it's a 3-point game. Maxey hits the 3 from half court. If there's no foul by Mitchell Robinson, it's a 4-point game, Dan, and Maxey's 3 doesn't matter, and he doesn't have that moment. Mitchell Robinson, listen to me, and listen to me clearly. You owe me one. You owe Knicks fans one. You owe us a game. You owe us a series. Make up for it in Game 6.
I thought he was pretty good last night.
He was
aside from
great
that.
right up until that moment.
They did. I mean, both teams were just so sloppy turning the ball over all night. The Knicks started the game. I texted Taylor when the Knicks, I think they started out like 0 for 8 shooting, and
they
I texted
did,
Taylor
yeah.
and I was like, this is your fault, buddy.
Right.
This is your fault. They looked so bad to start that game.
didn't they have like 0 or 2 points 6 minutes into the first quarter or something?
did.
Yeah.
So wasn't the game like 4-0 7 minutes
Yeah,
in?
pretty much.
Were we all heckling Taylor? Because I was texting him just laughing face emojis.
Yeah, I think we were actually. Who else was heckling
I felt the need to back away.
Taylor last night.
Not my place anymore.
The fans certainly were.
How much do you think all the Knicks celebrities sitting courtside, if we would have pooled together some money, that they would have all just been willing to pay for a different result? They're all rich people. We could
Oh
have
my
probably got
God,
like,
there's no amount of money they wouldn't pay, Chris. Like
Ben Stiller would have paid $3 million for a different
more.
result.
Ben Stiller would have paid $5 million. Ben Stiller would have said, "I will never be in a movie again as long as we win this game."
I think he goes 6. Who's saying 7? Anyone say 7?
7.
We got a 7. We got a 7. No, we got $8 million.
Honestly,
I'll say 8. I'll say 8.
8. Yeah, we got an $8 million back here. Jeremy, anyone got 9?
he-
Nine,
Right here,
$9
I got it,
million.
I got it.
Roy's got $9 million for Ben Stiller. Knicks win. Knicks win.
Tracy Morgan got super rich by getting hit by a truck, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he was super rich before.
Well,
and-
no. When he jokes about wanting to go out and he puts a lawn chair next to the expressway because he wants an Amazon truck to hit him next because he got so paid by a Walmart truck.
$90 million he got from Walmart.
Wow.
He did get pretty rich, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
$10 million Tracy Morgan.
Makes you wonder.
He hasn't had to do a lot
Does
of
it?
work since then.
Well,
correct?
no, when you got $90 million, you can kind of just do things on your own.
And his
Actually, he had a show like on TBS or something, right? Called The Last OG. Is that what the show
Yes,
was called?
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Pretty good show. And I think that was post-truck.
But what are you wondering? If you should get hit by a truck?
It's a little dangerous to get from our parking to the building now. And I have thought, one false step here and I could be set for life.
Stu, when you say Mitchell Robinson owes you a game, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're saying you want to play him one-on-one.
Well, it also sounded
Fair.
like you were calling him Menstrual Robinson.
Whoa.
I wasn't, though. I wasn't, though, Dan. I was trying to get to Mitchell. I stumbled at the Mitch.
John Cooper over here.
Goop.
I'm just saying that's what it sounded like. Mitchell Robinson, at the end, Maxey made that shot over him, Stugotz. And as I'm watching 2 of the games in this series, I have seen heartbreaking endings on both sides that scar fan bases 10 years later. This series has had 2 endings so disorienting and crazed in terms of how it makes you feel the balance of the series is going.
Yep.
To have the cruelty, Stugotz, because you know how much I love the history that gets baked into fan bases. This century, the New York Knicks have been irrelevant. That fan base, generations now, are starved for winning basketball so they can go back to telling you that last night in the Garden, those kinds of night, those are the best in basketball when that stuff happens in the Garden. This is the reverse of many years ago, Larry Johnson having a 4-point play where he was fouled against the Pacers, and it's the loudest sound I've ever seen or heard around Madison Square Garden. People remember Larry Johnson in the street now for just giving them that moment. This is the reverse of that last night. This is this punching you in the face. You're on the wrong end of, wait a minute, we were going to have our first important playoff series. Did you see how we celebrated when we won one against LeBron? One game down 3-0.
Right.
Confetti from the ceilings. Did you see how our fan base celebrated outside of Madison Square Garden last year when they were fighting it out with Trae Young and winning a game here and there? Did you see the lunacy where these New York fans have been waiting 25 years to get this kind of loud, Stugotz, and they were ready to pour into the streets last night, and Maxey took it from them.
Dan, for the first time since I think the 90s, I looked at the Pacers roster just to see how we match up against them. I mean,
that's the part about it that's cruel. It can happen in game 2, it can happen in game 3, it can happen in game 4, but when it happens, when they're this close to feeling like this is over, we no longer have to fear Maxey. Oh no, now we have to fear him more.
It's also the kind of pain that I think Knicks fans weren't expecting as much from this team. Like, Knicks fans are so conditioned to expect the worst and pain and horror at any given moment. And this team with Brunson, where Brunson actually comes through, they feel like there's some sense of, okay, like we're up 6, even with 4 more points, that like we're still up 2, and then it just disintegrates, and it was like it just like sucked the air out of that entire place.
I don't know if Knicks fans are as superstitious as I am, but I have reason to believe that Taylor, not just by being in the building, cursed this, because I have inside info that he was requesting a prop cigar before the game to be able to celebrate when the Knicks won last night.
What does that mean? What is a prop cigar?
Not to have an actual cigar to smoke in the arena,
Right.
but to have a prop cigar.
He also
But you explained to security, like, no, this is a prop cigar.
I
Game
don't
Time
know what to
sent
tell
me
you.
here.
he wanted a cigar so he could celebrate inside the Madison Square Garden. I can't get mad at Taylor.
Message came in at 8 p.m.
We were all celebrating. I looked up the Pacers roster. I mean, we were all celebrating.
That's on you, Stu.
How'd that stack up against? Did you look up your roster?
Dale Davis, no longer a Pacer. I mean, it's the last time I looked.
Stu, what'd you see on there?
Yeah.
I saw Halliburton.
Nice.
No Rick Smits.
No, I didn't see the dunking Dutchman.
Taylor told me he's 0-5 career at Knicks playoff games. If you're 0-4,
Stay away.
why did he request to go to this game?
Stay
This
away.
is on him a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, because he went for free. All you had to do was sit down for
Yeah,
a
that's
day.
true. Yeah.
If I'm 0-4, I'm just like, I don't want to do this to my team.
If you're a Knicks fan, you're conditioned to think this is going to end badly. That the Sixers are going to blow them out in Game 6, and then they'll go to Madison Square Garden for a Game 7. It will be a close game, and Embiid or Maxey or someone will limp through the entire game. And then all of a sudden, they'll be healthy in the fourth quarter and hit a big shot and we'll lose. That's how it's going to end. If you're a Knicks fan, that's how you're conditioned to think. This series is over.
But
You are
I'm all over the place.
You're furious, and you're already bobbing emotionally. I don't believe, though, that that's how Knicks fans feel. I have never heard this kind of confidence from the Knicks fans in the last 15 years that they have going into the love of this team, going into how they feel about the things that Brunson is. Stugotz, you know.
He's great.
No, but Stugotz, this part, the part I'm about to tell you, where people get their regional sports identity and are made to feel like losers by their franchise who get furious at James Dolan. It's one thing to have a team that you kind of like because they win. But this team, whose roster does not merit a 2 seed in the East. Roster.
No.
This team that is viewed as gritty and underdog, and how can you not love these guys? Look at what they're doing to the stars, Embiid and Maxey. They're doing it with grit because Thibodeau's tough and Jalen Brunson's undersized. When you feel like a team represents you personality-wise as an underdog and you latch on to, I like the way this team represents me and my city, it hurts when you care like that. When you get into hope and then it gets betrayed.
Yes.
Your hope gets betrayed, and the Knicks fan base has been broken over the years by this, and they're daring to hope again because Hartenstein has lured them in with his offensive rebounds, and Brunson's too small, and my God, Josh Hart has no business being that physical at 210 pounds. I love my little team.
I'm kind of understanding now why everyone's hated the Heat for so long, because Heat fans have always been overly confident, and I've gotten a taste the last week of Knicks fans being that way.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch that lose. This is fun.
Right.
I'm enjoying this.
But Dan is saying they're going to be confident, just as confident, headed into Game 6 at Philadelphia. Is that what you're thinking?
I think that Knicks fans believe in what this team represents more than they have in the past because of how they're identifying with this little team can do it against anybody. We're against the odds. It's us against the world. Nobody believes in us. And they're just forgetting all of the previous heartbreak to give. This is the person who keeps getting cheated on by a partner and keeps going into the relationship trusting, daring to hope again that this is the one. This is the team they could give their heart to.
Lehman just texted me and said Dan's spitting. He was really sad last night. It was
it's crushing.
It was brutal.
I cannot tell you how much it hurts to give your heart over to a team, but worse still when you know better than to do it.
I'm a Notre Dame fan. I do actually know what that's like.
Stugotz is I mind Stugotz for so much good. The first 5 years of this show of him loving the Knicks and being able to make fun of him, and he's shut up for 15 years on them.
Knicks fans, though, like, it is such a broken existence. You're saying, Dan, that you think that they're still confident going in to Game 6. I feel like last night shook it, right, Stu?
The second Maxey hit that shot, even though the Knicks scored the first 5 points in overtime. I mean, unbelievable.
Video, can you guys just
so
find
many
me
chances to win that game?
You guys tell me. Video, there's plenty of this all over the internet. Find me some good stuff and be careful because some things get said that shouldn't be said. Knicks fans in the street, how they behave outside of Madison Square Garden after a single playoff victory. Never mind with championship hopes, Stugotz, because nobody in the country thinks the Knicks have any championship hopes.
Right.
Nobody only New York thinks that. There is no one else. I told you the betting odds before the playoffs started. You could have gotten a better bet on the Warriors, on the Heat. The bottom of the play-ins had better odds to win the championship than the Knicks. But Knicks fans are loud and dying to be hopeful, dying to remember that feeling from 1999 when you did it to other teams and you made Pat Riley, the guy who betrayed you, Pat Riley, that took all that stuff to Miami. You made him cry at his desk, and Alonzo Mourning had to come in the room and tell him to go talk to his broken team. Go do your bleeping job, Pat.
Yep.
You did that to him with a bounce, and it's the last time the team mattered like that. They've been dying for that in New York for 25 years.
I can't help but admire Knicks fans in some sick way. It might be because I'm married to one, but like the ability to still believe,
to brush it off,
to not even brush it off, just like to care so much. Like my husband can't even talk about these games. Like before the games, he's like, I can't talk about what could happen here. I actually, like when they were going to be the 2 seed, I was like, oh my God, like they might be the 2 seed, and he was like, I actually can't talk about it.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
not allowed to.
It's like that bad.
Right.
But I also, there's something really admirable to me about erupting when your team wins one game, like caring so much, like going so hard, even in Philly. Philly fans didn't show up, like Knicks fans showed up, and to be that broken and still care and still give it your all and celebrate when you've almost won
Let me
a
explain
game.
this.
Almost.
Let me explain this to everybody. Knicks fans are the best, and Knicks fans are the worst.
Yep.
They're what you want a fan base to care like if you're someone who wants to steal their money as a business person. It's what you want them to be in the streets. This city gives itself over to that team. They call it the world's most famous arena. They say all the free agents want to play there, even though none of them do.
Ever.
They think it's the biggest sound that can be made because they're still talking about Willis Reed in the 70s.
Yeah.
They're still talking about what that franchise was. You remember what Granddaddy said about the Knicks? And since then, they've been a punchline. They had the Pat Riley years. They had the years where the most relevant thing about them was playing against Pat Riley, beating Pat Riley. And then for 20 years, it's been quiet until they win a playoff game. And then they roll right into the street, and they are the best, and they are the worst.
Mm-hmm. That's why the phones keep ringing at WFAN.
That's
Dano.
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yep.
Have we gotten the imaging that we need to become WFAT? I'm stunned that you chose that over WDAN. WFAT.
Wow, the Dan.
We are.
WSTU.
Go sit in the penalty box.
What?
Me?
Wow.
Who else would it be? Who else would I
just got
There's
here.
always a
That's
chance
wrong.
it's
Justice
me.
for Charlotte.
Wow.
There is always.
It's good to check because there's always a chance that it's me or Jeremy.
That it's you.
Yeah.
Listen, she's been penalized enough this morning. She saw me shirtless.
Jeremy did breathe, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Why were you shirtless?
It's a good question, Jessica. I
Smoking
appreciate
shirt.
you asking it, even though we addressed it earlier in the show.
Yeah.
He was in the garage. This is weird. Who were you saying hello to shirtless that Charlotte overheard your gravelly voice from nearby?
I was changing my shirt. It had some stains on it. It smelled, and so I had a second shirt. I can't remember who came before Charlotte, to be quite honest with you, but I did belch out, "Hey!" Shirtless.
So, did you have a clean shirt on when you left your house and
I
then it
did.
got dirty, or you just were?
I'm smelling this from a mile away. This is a daily thing. You bring you wear a shirt in the car, smoke on the way, and then
Right.
you're like, let me get rid of the smoking shirt.
Is it
and
the
then-
same shirt every day?
No, it's not the same shirt. To be honest, this morning I put on the shirt that's in my car right now. It felt a little snug.
Wait.
And so I said, you know what? I'm going to grab a comfortable sweatshirt. I know this one fits. I know it fits well. Doesn't matter how much weight I gain. The thing always fits.
So you're not wearing a shirt.
Well, no, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. And I started off the day with a black hoodie, and I changed it to the green hoodie.
Do you never wear shirts under your hoodies?
Never.
So now you're shirtless in the garage now. You're smoking. So now your skin smells like
I did
smoke.
not have a cigarette while I was shirtless, Roy. It was
I feel
before
like
and after.
we're doing a Costanza thing where you have to take the shirt off before you go to the bathroom, but you're having a smoke.
It was snug. I had a couple of heaters on the way in. I had the green sweatshirt, which is very comfortable on me. Feels nice on my skin. Very soft on my skin.
I'm so confused.
And so I changed.
You don't wear shirts under your hoodies ever?
No. It's a sweatshirt.
My theory was
You
is that he
shave?
accidentally was still wearing the same clothes as yesterday and then thought someone would notice, so he put a different shirt on. But
Oh, we've all noticed, but we don't even have to say anything anymore.
Am I the only one that wears shirts under hoodies?
Of course
no,
I do.
of course
Why would
not.
you do that?
No, I think everybody does.
I'm wearing one right now.
What?
I think you're
It's 84 degrees outside.
Put it
So
on.
why wear a hoodie?
Well, because it's cold in here.
Put it on the poll, please.
And I'm fat.
At Le Batard Show, WFAT, where you get all your calories and information. Put on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Do you wear a shirt under your hoodie? I thought everyone did that.
Less layers, man.
I have, but I do have a lot of questions. I really do, because
I'm here for you.
I mean, you're a professional broadcaster who's had some success. I
Yeah,
mean, rummaging around in your
Hall of
car
Famer,
like
man.
someone who doesn't have a home to get dressed for work. Like, as I mentioned before, I will continue to mention. I am 55 years old. I have aged out of having opinions on hip-hop beef. I don't need to be giving them to anybody. I just like that J. Cole kind of said, hey, I'm grown up, I'm different, I don't want to do this. Everyone else took it as he's afraid of the fight. I was like, oh, there's a man growing up and willing to do something different with the form.
he matured.
Well, no, but then everyone got really mad, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to bring on a legitimate expert here to learn about it more than talk about it. So, Peter Rosenberg, before we get started, for the uninitiated, because he's hosted for a long time in New York, both sports, and he knows everything happening at, when he does Ebro in the morning on Hot 97. He's been doing music talk for a long time. So can you just tell people, Peter, for the uninitiated, your credentials as humbly as you can?
Oh, okay. As humbly as I can. The credentials would be, yeah, I've been on Hot 97 as a DJ and a host for the last 17 years now. Yeah, 2007. I was I'm regarded as one of the most well-known early Kendrick Lamar sort of proponents. I'll start the conversation with that. I am known as that guy. Sort of decided pretty early on he was going to be that dude. I have a Sunday night show where I break music, so I started breaking his music back then. But I've known Drake since the very beginning of his career as well. I'm probably too old to be commenting also, and I'm sure Twitter would tell you that I'm too many things to not be commenting on this. But I am into it. I have gotten dragged in every morning. It has certainly been the topic of conversation.
And so I want to get your expertise here because you're saying you're biased on Kendrick, but it's because he's such a thorough artist and writer, right? You're admiring, more than anything, what you're admiring is that he's the most clever.
Yeah, I mean, well, a couple of things. Yes, I do think Kendrick's the most clever and lyrical and interesting vocally, etc. I think Drake is great. I mean, I think Drake's a great pop rapper, and I don't mean that as a slight, and a great rapper, period. Like, I enjoy Drake's music. I think the reason I end up being biased towards Kendrick is probably what kind of ends up dividing a lot of people on this, which is that Kendrick has made a concerted effort to be the dude who talks about things that matter. He's been doing that for a very long time, and he's done really well doing it. But he's not going to be on the radio all day, every day, because he doesn't make records like that. So I do get a little bit frustrated when a Drake will come along and not only want to be the biggest pop star, but then also expect to be considered like the #1 rapper when I don't know that he tries to even check all those boxes. Kendrick cares about those boxes. He's influenced by the Public Enemies, the Chuck D's, the Ice Cubes, everything, the Eminems, the Andre 3000s. There's a pedigree to Kendrick, and he cares about it, and it stands out in moments like yesterday's.
Cares too much, some would argue, because 19 minutes is what you got, and it's because he insists on making a tapestry. Everybody wanted him to do it earlier, and he's like, no, I'm going to do it like this because I care about the history of what all of this is, and now people are making fun of him for producing 19 minutes of caring there that was too much. Where are you on the internet discourse on this, on people taking sides? You're biased, but what do you find interesting about what's happening around the beef?
Well, two things. One, the thing that we got handed yesterday was 6.5 minutes. They say there's 19. We got 6.5, which is still, I mean, that's still longer. Dan, let me go back to our era. It's still longer than Triumph, which had every member of Wu-Tang rapping on it. It's a long song, no matter how you call it. But I would say in the discourse, I'm firmly in the Kendrick bodied that. I don't, if you don't think he did, you just don't know enough about rap to have the conversation, or you don't listen hard enough. But I'm also not in the mindset that Drake hasn't been good and entertaining as well. I think Drake's in an interesting spot right now, because I think if Drake even produces something that makes people like go, wow, oh, he really got in there, I think Drake can win with a tie. That is what I think. I think Drake, if he puts up something close, I think can get a win. But listen, Dan, Stu, we're living in an era where the loudest voices are Twitch streamers who have been listening to rap for 6 years. I mean, so Drake is going to get told that he won no matter what, because Drake is friends. He's in the DMs and talking to all the Twitch streamers. Everyone knows him. Everyone wants to go to the parties. Everyone wants to be around the women. He's going to win in that court of public opinion. It's going to come down to what the hip hop heads say. And I think that's still pretty split as well. But I'm firmly on that in this moment. I'd say it was a 10-9 round for Kendrick.
But you're doing something here too, is you're more than just biased. When you say hip hop heads, you're also bringing in all the activism, and you're admiring Kendrick Lamar because of how thoroughly he respects the art and history of what this is. He won't do pop. And once you're viewing it through those eyes, I don't know that there's a way that he can lose for you.
Well, that's a totally fair point. I'll say this, though. When I saw it was 6.5 minutes, I was like, I'm not sure. And I'll even say this. This whole thing really got going when Kendrick did a guest verse with Future and Metro Boomin on a song called Like That. And I did not rave about Kendrick's verse. Everyone was going like, oh, my God. He said, "Mother F the big three, it's just big me." I was like, I don't think that's that great a bar. Like I wasn't over the moon. So I am trying to be critical. I just think this song was that dope. But you're right. There is a bias built in there because of the way that he cares. The way that he would fumble it would have been if he really did release the 19 minutes. That would have been a fumble. If he had dropped a 19-minute song, to me, that would have been a big mistake. Now it'll be interesting to see whether Drake comes back, which I'm sure he will, and then if Kendrick responds again. That's where we've seen in history artists make the mistake. Like Jay and Nas went back and forth, and everyone loved Ether and Takeover. But then when Jay did Super Ugly, that's when everyone was like, nah, you're trying too hard. So there are still rooms for Kendrick to make a mistake. I just don't think he will. I don't think it's how he operates.
Can you explain to us the details of the beef, the reported truths, and just the history of it?
I'll do the best I can. I mean, listen, I'm also in my 40s, Dan. I'm trying to figure it out as best I can. It's because these days the move is the records come out and these kids then get on the internet and do research for like weeks. We had to like wait back in the day to like wait for the next Source magazine to come in a month to try to figure it out. So there's a lot there, but I think it's multi-tier. I think there's a lot of inside baseball to it, which Kendrick alludes to on this song. And then there's the sort of more obvious stuff, which is Drake not feeling accepted as the lyricist, Kendrick maybe feeling a little bit as the outsider because he's not a pop star. And then these weird relationship things that have happened. I mean, you can't forget, Drake took Kendrick on tour. That is a thing that happened. Kendrick's first big tour was opening for Drake. They did the song Poetic Justice together. There was like a real thing between the two of them. And then over time, things happened, much of which we don't really know about. And it's kind of coming out on these records. Kendrick implies in Euphoria that Drake had tried to get him on the song First Person Shooter with J. Cole, and he turned him down. So there's these little inside baseball back and forth that I'm not going to lie to you, I only know about now from listening to the songs and breaking them down as well. But I think this is a broader conversation about what these two dudes stand for. I think Kendrick Lamar's biggest beef with Drake is you have the biggest platform imaginable and you don't do anything with it. I really think that's what it comes down to. And people will get into a lot of the stuff on the record about colorism and Kendrick saying, you saying the N-word is cringeworthy, and all of these things that play into race, Americans, Canadians, all these different things. It's all interesting. I think it's all really about Kendrick is like, I'm a guy who chooses to make my platform about something. You choose to make party records and records for girls to dance to who are way too young to even be dancing to your records. I think that's kind of where this thing really comes down to.
Oh, but Peter, if you're talking about right, as artists, then you're saying that Kendrick disdains the entirety of Drake's essence because he doesn't stand for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, people will say me saying that, like like Kendrick has never told me I hate Drake. I've never had a conversation with him about Drake in that regard with him or his team. But if you listen to what he says and you watch how he chooses to operate and you hear the things that he says on Euphoria and you go back and listen to Kendrick's last album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, you're looking at someone who has chosen. This is a guy who won the first Pulitzer Prize in hip hop. This is a guy who's chosen to take this thing to different places. Yeah, I think he has a real disdain, as he says on this record, for someone who he probably believes is talented, but thinks doesn't choose to do anything special. Like, he believes that Drake is all about fame, and having a big plane and having tons of money. And I think it'll be hard for Drake to argue that he's not about those things. And by the way, those things are popular. People love hearing about those things. But I think for someone like Kendrick Lamar, who came up on the things that he came up in, and makes the kind of music that he makes, yeah, I think disdain is probably a fair word.
Oh, but when I talk about disdain from the greats, Stugotz, I'm talking about Jim Brown, okay? He hated that Michael Jordan and O.J. Simpson never said anything about anything because he was working so hard on his activism. And he pointed out that Muhammad Ali didn't go from the most hated athlete to the most beloved athlete in America until he lost his ability to speak. what Kendrick Lamar does, the way that he does it, Drake must offend him. Like, just, even if he's spiritual, even if he's trying to be forgiving, even if he's trying not to be judgmental of others, that you would take hip-hop's platform and only do the things that get you money and women and cars and the things, that would be deeply offensive to Kendrick Lamar, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, just to make a comp to our world, and maybe I'm speaking out of school, you can sort of relate to it. I mean, you guys literally do smart sports radio. Now, it has turned into a really lucrative business, and it's worked out great. But there have been many times when you could go be the blowhard on the radio, who you guys enjoy making fun of, and you've chosen not to do it. And it made your path a little bit longer. And I'm sure there have been moments and certain personalities in our industry that you kind of have a disdain for what they do because they don't really go about it in a way with integrity. And I think that's the Kendrick Lamar story.
I'm good with it. But speaking of sports radio, listen, okay? Some advice for you, for Michael K., for Don Le Batard. Today is not a day for you guys to talk, okay? Give out the phone number, take 4 hours of calls. Let Sal in Brooklyn do the work for you. You hear me?
By the way, listen, I take that very seriously as the guy who was rumored to be the program director of our competition very recently.
Well, thank you. And if you guys are hiring, let me know.
Well,
okay?
no, but hold on. Like,
you're right.
would you please give Peter Rosenberg, I'd like for him to get whatever it is the speech would have been if you'd been in that town running that market with program director meetings. You tell Rosenberg how to do his job. Rosenberg, I'm going to need you to, I know you're a veteran, but you're going to need to accept some instruction here.
Done.
I tell Don Le Batard, no rants. Don't say a word. I tell Michael K., no rants. Don't say a word. I tell Peter Rosenberg, no rants. Don't say a word. I name everyone else on the lineup, but I don't know anyone else on the lineup. Dave Rothenberg, no rants. Don't say a word. Let the callers do the work for you. Today is one of those special days in New York where you don't have to do your job. You can let the callers do the job for you. It's a special day. We haven't had one of these in a while. Let them cook. You guys sit back, enjoy, and take a 20 share. How about that?
You know what? Beautifully said. And by the way, what is there to say after that last night? You have to leave that to the fans.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
That's
Good
good
call.
analysis. It's good analysis.
Well, it's what he should do.
Yes,
Right.
that's
yes.
He was right to stop talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was practicing. I was trying to do what Stu's saying I should do. It was,
Because I know Le Batard thinks it's all about him today, and I'm telling you, today it's not.
Le Batard.
If he wants FAN to get 25 shares, they will. Le Batard, shut your mouth today.
It's not about you today, Le Batard.
Yes.
It's not about you.
I
Tell
think
my-
you guys, you're taunting for another Don rant by just even saying this. That's what you're doing.
See you later, Peter. Thank you.
Guys, take care.
See you, man.
Papi, it's nice to see you. I can hear you clearing your teeth with peanuts that you just ate that you shouldn't have eaten right before we started because you can't help yourself when you get into the eating area over there. Every time you come in and you say, I don't want anything, and every time I'm looking over there, you're eating everything that's over there.
Yeah, I got too late to the buffet. By the time I got to the buffet, there were only peanuts left.
Yes,
you know?
everybody else ate
Everybody
all the good
took it.
stuff. Yes, Papi. We are happy to see you. You came in today to rejuvenate one of our most popular segments. We have not done it in a while, the spelling bee. But since you're here, I thought I'd bring you out of retirement here because people haven't heard me make any of those calls to you about the Heat that I used to make. And you go and watch all the games with Mom. And you have been, I would say, very negative this year. You've been.
Have I?
Mom is complaining that you've been very negative about the Heat.
Yeah.
You say, have I? Mom says it's very unpleasant to watch games with you this year.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Papi.
I only told your mother that they didn't have a plan B. They had a plan A. Plan A didn't work, and then they were left hanging the bag, holding the bag. No plan B. That's what happened. But they'll be back. They'll be back,
Okay, well, do you know who that is over there? Do you know who the biggest Heat
Papi.
homer? Do you know who that is over there?
Oh, yeah, that's Jeremy Taché.
Okay,
Hey.
yeah, look at that. He knows your name.
I am so
Congratulations.
flattered.
Yes, and he, like you, is somebody who's very passionate about the Heat, but you're doomed right now, right? I think he's probably more hopeful about winning games than you are. You know they're going to lose, correct?
I'm not sure until the fat lady sings.
Love it.
Who's the fat lady? Is that even allowed anymore in
Sure.
I don't think. I think
That's a
you
good
can't-
one. Put it on the poll.
I don't know. Put it on the poll. Are you allowed to say that the fat lady sings anymore? As my father all of a sudden aged out.
The Ozempic lady.
Well, let's cancel my father. Papi, what do you mean until the fat lady sings? You're not. Hold on a second. Yeah, Jeremy, let me let you in on a secret. This is the God's honest truth, and we can call my mom at the end of this to get verification. My father is a giant fraud because in private he talks very badly about the Heat, about Eric Spoelstra. He complains, but then you put a microphone in front of him, and he's very publicly supportive.
Who would do that?
Papi, you're a phony.
I'm a phony?
Tell me I'm.
I don't know. What makes you say that I'm a phony?
Because I sat at dinner with you and Sedano the other day, and all you did was complain about Spoelstra the entire meal.
Well, the $18 million, that's a lot of money, no? What, he's got a 25-year deal?
The best coach in the NBA, Papi.
I don't know.
And grateful for a few championships, no?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he the best? I stick to the butcher. I like the butcher better.
Papi! No. Papi!
Yeah, what?
Sacrilege,
Oh,
Papi.
my God, Papi, I can't believe my father has now become a Knicks fan. My father prefers the butcher.
No, I'm talking
Tom
about
Thibodeau. That's a shocking revelation. Papi has turned on the Heat.
No, wait a second. That's only the head coach. I'm not talking about the whole team now.
You'd rather have Tom Thibodeau than Eric Spoelstra, Papi.
I think that they need a change in.
You're firing what, Papi? You're firing. Wait a minute.
No, I don't fire anybody. I kick him upstairs.
You're promoting Spoelstra.
That's right. Spoelstra deserves a bigger job.
The firing veiled as the promotion.
That's a
Kick
good.
him
Well
upstairs.
done, Papi.
That's a good. So
The
you
Godfather is ready to retire, so that's the perfect fit. You know?
Okay, so-
Put him
So
in
we
a place
pushed
where he
Riley
can-
out. Great.
Wait, Papi, hold on a second. The Heat are down 3-1, and so you are now essentially firing both Riley and Spoelstra.
Oh, I'm saying the Godfather has been saying a long time ago that he's retired to retire. He's ready. So I'm saying the Godfather retires, you kick a Spoelstra upstairs. He got that big office on top of Biscayne Boulevard there, a nice view to the ocean there, with all the goodies, and then you bring in a guy that hates losing. He never smiles.
Tom Thibodeau.
The butcher. Call him the butcher.
I know, you call him the butcher. A shocking thing you have said here. How about Tyler Hero? How are you feeling about Tyler Hero these days?
Well, I'm not sure because he's always hurt. So, what are you going to do with him? I don't know what you're going to do with him.
Do you think he would have been good enough for this team if Jimmy Butler was healthy alongside him going into the playoffs? Or do you think this is just too much for him as the only guy?
Well, yeah. I mean, Hero cannot do it all. Jimmy cannot do it all. So you need a third wheel, a fourth wheel.
Why do we need a fourth wheel?
Because you got to win. Without a fourth wheel, you're not going to win.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So Tyler Hero needs to be a fourth wheel?
Well,
You've
you
been
can-
complaining
you can
about
get- you
you've
can
been
get-
complaining about Tyler Hero all year, Dad. All year, all you do is say he's made of balsa wood, and you say that he falls apart and he's unhealthy. And now you come in here at the microphone and you're super gentle about the thing. Don't tell me no, Papi.
No, I'm saying that they are tough players and they're soft players.
See, now-
Tyler
So now
Hero
he's
is a
soft.
soft player, because
See?
how many games he was on the bench this year for the Heat?
He was hurt quite a bit.
Okay. When was the last time we played in a playoff game before this playoff series?
It was a while ago.
2022.
And they were slightly better when. What's happening back there? What is happening? There's Mike
Ryan creeped in here.
Mike Ryan is coming into the room, and I'm not sure what he's doing here. He wants to get in on some Heat talk. Papi, I think you might have some interesting opinions that you share with Mike Ryan back there. Mike Ryan has been negative on the Heat recently too.
Well, you need a plan B. There was no plan B. What can I tell you? What happened with Damian Lillard says, well, I can make it to the Heat.
They had Plan Bs, Papi, but they failed on the Plan Bs too. No one wants. It's sexy to talk about the failed pursuits of Damian Lillard and Donovan Mitchell. It's not as sexy to say that they also failed on Pascal Siakam.
Well, Pascal, all good Pascal. You know what I mean?
My old good Pascal.
I don't know about Pascal.
OG Anunoby would have helped, wouldn't he?
I guess it will. You know, there's always LeBron in the background.
You want to bring back LeBron?
He's on the map.
Why not? Papi, another why not? You want to bring back LeBron? He's one of your nemesis. He's mom's least favorite player.
You miss it, though.
If he brings another ring, why not?
This is shocking. My father's revelations in
You
this
were in
are
your prime
shocking.
when LeBron was here. We need to get that back. One last run for all of us.
He fired Spo, called Hero Soft, and wants LeBron back.
Oh, I actually. What is this nonsense about you pulling punches?
Well, he was. I had to drag it out of him.
Yep.
It requires some
It
follow-up
started
questions.
soft on all of them.
I have to accuse him of the fraud. I hear what he says in private.
Spo, I can't follow you there. Everywhere else, though.
He kicked him upstairs.
He wanted Tom Thibodeau instead.
What, the butcher? He wanted the butcher?
He retired Riley. He got Riley out of there. It's been shocking so far. Now he wants LeBron back after feuding on television with LeBron for many years. And people don't remember this. My father he ripped LeBron so much. And then LeBron sent over about 12 boxes of Blaze pizza. And my father that's it. The day my father stopped ripping him, he was
all bets are off.
Pizza is pretty good.
He bought him with 12. Look at him.
Blazer pizza.
No, Blaze pizza,
Blaze,
not Blazer pizza.
Damian Lillard pizza.
Whatever it is.
Blaze pizza.
Blaze, okay.
Yes, they bought you with a few slices of pizza. What are your honest opinions about how they're going to fix this? Because you can say they're going to fix it. Mike said the other day they're going to fix it. Jeremy says they're going to fix it. But what are they going to do to fix it?
Well, they got this Mexican kid that it looks like he's a fireballer. Then they have
He's
the
a
Russian kid.
He is a fireballer.
You know, the Russian kid.
All right,
those
sure.
are two prospects in there. You know what I mean? I mean, those are
Throw a couple of prospects in there.
15 years from now, they'll be hell of a players. You know what I mean? I'll tell you.
I
what,
mean,
you got to look at
the man speaking logically.
I'm sure at some point it was part
long
of
range planning.
Soviet
They call that
Union.
long range
Russia, close
planning.
enough.
That's right. That's what it's long range planning.
We're
I
using
mean,
war torn to describe some of these
Nicola.
areas.
As a matter of
Slav
fact,
in
I'm
there.
not sure that the Russian kid is Russian. Maybe he's a
He's
Latino.
He's not.
Yeah,
We're
he's
trying to
not.
help.
That's
you.
Russian.
Yeah, we're trying to help.
Nicola.
Thank God that the Mexican kid's Mexican.
Yeah, for real.
Well,
I
I think you could have gotten away with that one, though. I think my father's got a bit of immunity there on the
got
Mexican
cachet.
kid. Yeah, that's it. Bobby, I would maintain that my father is one of the last remnants of the sitcom dad that has ever been on television. That my father, on daily television for 8 years, every day in the middle of ESPN's lineup, my father was the sitcom father. It dies with my father retiring.
Wow, that is morbid and also so
couldn't-
cocky.
They couldn't find somebody that would say so many nonsense like I did. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Every time I opened my mouth, it didn't make any sense.
That's true.
So
A victory lap on it,
that's right.
as it should be.
You guys know it's not a bit that my father didn't know how to leave at the end at ESPN, and so he was holding out and complaining that they weren't paying him enough because
Is that the move? I'm asking.
he just wanted to stop working. He wanted to just go home and do what he's doing now, taking lots of naps, shuffling around the house, bothering my mother.
Well, then I followed the plan.
And
Yeah, well, I know that's a good.
That's a
plan to
blueprint
follow.
right
That's
there.
That's a blueprint.
That's all I'm doing. I go home and I take a nap when I leave here.
That's a
And
good.
it's all
That's a good move
Chris
on
and
your
Jeremy's
part. That's
problem.
right. That's a good move on your part. Sleep as much as you can while you can.
it's good life advice.
Sleep
actually.
as much as you can while you can.
It's excellent life advice. My father's lesson after retiring from
just
television.
not the front office.
That's
Because
right.
they've been taking naps plenty. You hear that old urban legend?
You got it.
Someone literally slept through the deadline?
Very healthy for you. Sleep all the time if you can. That's all.
Not all the time, but my mom is bothered by how much my father's sleeping, but he wanted to retire from television after many years of working way too much in order to sleep around the house more. But the funniest part of that is he held out not wanting to tell me that he didn't want to do the TV show anymore, and then ESPN gave him a raise. He successfully while not wanting to actually have more money, complained about needing more money when he didn't want more money, and they gave it to him. And so he had to work longer than he even wanted to on that television
I still have
show.
a mug in my house that says "Pay Papi" with his face on it.
That's good. I like that. I like that very much.
So hold out. That's what we all need to do.
That's right. You know, the ESPN has a tendency to abuse employees. So I was able to abuse ESPN. That's
Redacted.
We'll bleep it.
Thoughts and opinions don't reflect that of the Dan Le Batard Show proper. He's old. Forgive us. Sitcoms.
He
die
retired.
with him.
Sitcom dad. You know, the Russian.
I don't want to relive that one.
Let's do this. Can we just have a really fast spoken apology at the end of this that none of the
Dan Le
thoughts
Batard Show does not
reflected
believe
by
he's
my
actually
father.
Russian.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.